Welcome back. Something new on the bench today. We are going to build a Spintech. This is something I picked up online a couple months ago and haven't done anything with it yet. So today's the day. We also have, this is the frame itself, and let's take a quick look. It's got a fairly chunk base plate here. And I was thinking that the motors that this Spintech company sells with it are 1303s, I believe. 1303 or 1304. I can't remember off the top of my head. So they're fairly hefty and meaty. They might be able to do 3-inch, although I'm not sure about this back side, whether or not I can get two 3-inch props together without touching that and the canopy and everything. So it might end up being a 2.5-inch. We'll see. But I was thinking that this would be a great 4S micro platform, similar to the GT349 or GTR 349 not GEP RC. Google it, you'll know who I'm talking about. Anyway, so I thought this would be an interesting build, and like I said, it's like, what is that, 4 millimeters thick, something close to that, and there's like almost no flex in this thing. It's really a stiff frame, and it comes with a canopy. I don't think it's TPU. Kind of looks like, well, it might be TPU. Actually, maybe it is. Yeah, this is my first time tearing into it. This little clear plastic doodad for racing, and then these heavier, yeah, I guess they are TPU for something. It almost feels like, yeah, it doesn't feel like TPU, but maybe it is. Maybe I just haven't printed enough in white. But you can see it's got a bigger cam opening. So speaking of cams, I was thinking that the best cam to run is a used, let's see, this is the Runcam Split Mini. Yep, Runcam Split Mini, and it'll do 1080p at 60 frames a second. So it's got the this little DVR recorder, and then you have a video out. So it's just like a regular camera, except for, you know, you've got this little cable and everything. So I thought that might be a fun, this might be a fun build for that. And if it doesn't work out, if we just can't make it fit, then, you know, it's not the end of the world. We can run something else, and that fits in there pretty nicely. So I'm thinking that this might be the way to go on this build. Who the hell knows how this thing sits in there? But yeah, so we might give this one a go, see if that we can make it work. And then after the cam, we always run a crossfire. Here are those motors, 1304s, and they are 5200 kV. Yeah, so these are the Spintech 5200s, and that's what they look like. They're fairly beefy. They remind me a bit of the ones I just pulled out of the cream puff that I just put on the Ripsqueak. So who knows what order I'll put this out in. So, but I just did a Ripsqueak build, and with Brother Returner 1402s, and it flew very nicely. But I don't know, it's a little heavy of a quad, but this should be fun. Oh, this is a nice feature. It has both 9x9 and 12x12 mounting pattern, so that you can mount this up on either a 9x9 for micros, or 12x12 for the typical 3.5 or 3-inch, you know, like the 1507s and the so on. So that's actually a really nice feature. I didn't notice that before. I don't know if you can quite see it, but it's got sort of a figure 8 sized hole in this, you know, with both hole patterns, because they overlap with M2s or screws. But yeah, that's actually a really nice feature. So we'll get that all taken care of and wrapped up and installed. And then the flight controller, because this only has provisions for a 2020 stack, I decided that I was going to piece it together from two separate systems. We've got the Mamba F722 mini flight controller, and I should actually double check this guy and make sure it's not the pin variety, because if it is, we may end up having to switch this out for another F4 flight controller, just because I don't want to even fight with pins and other nonsense. Is there anything else in this bag? Can I get rid of this? It's garbage. And our trusty X-Acto, which may need a new blade. Good job, Bob. Yeah. I love these little things from Mamba. Alright, there it is. And I don't see any... Yeah, I don't see any stack pins, so I think we're in good shape. Oh, come on. And make sure we're still recording. Yep, still recording. And there it is. Yep. So what I mean by stack pins is on some of these flight controllers and VTXs, they have pins and they protrude down. And what that does is that plugs into a socket specifically designed for them on the ESC, or the VTX plugs directly into the flight controller. And the problem with that is that if you want to mix and match, like I'm running a Lumenier ESC on this rig, it's going to be a problem because there's no pin receptacles on this guy. Much better to use a cable with a connector style and do it up like that. That's what I was hoping for, and that's what I got, thankfully. I didn't check it until just now. So there's our ESC, or our flight controller. And then, as I said, the ESC is this Lumenier guy, and they gave us just a ton of extra bits and bobs for whatever the hell else we need. I mean, there's extra wire in here. I mean, Jesus. They even solder up the leads, but then they give you everything except for an XT60 or an XT30 connector. Go figure. Yeah. So, and here that is. That's this guy right here, and Jesus, I mean, there's just a ton of. We got wires for days. Yeah. So that is going to be fun. We've got 4 wires. They're good. They give you a regular connector as well. But yeah, we'll get this guy tinned up and ready to go in. And yeah, this ought to be a fun little build. Now the VTX that I went with is the Unify and the TBS Unify, and I'm going to try to use one of these little 2020 stack things. So keep in mind that we basically have 4 boards trying to go into this thing. It may turn out that I can't use this, and I just need to strap the VTX and Crossfire out here somewhere or somewhere else, because I've got to have a M2 screw that goes up through this thick ass frame all the way up through the ESC, the flight controller, that run cam board, and this guy to the top, and I need to get a nut on it, and I may need to mount the VTX on top, or VTX. I may need to mount the canopy on top of that. So it's going to be kind of a shit show we'll see if it holds up. But yeah, this is going to be a fun little build, I think, and we should have fun putting it together. At least I hope so. How the hell does this mount? Is it the top? I still don't understand how this works. See, that's pointed down. Does it slope? Well, shit, your guess is as good as mine. Oh, right. This is that weird one. I think it hangs. Some weird. Well, we'll figure something out, I reckon. Alright, enough dilly-dallying. Might as well get this thing done. Yeah, like I said, if worse comes to worse, I can always just run this guy here. And that guy sits up on top some standoffs like so. Which means that this is the flight controller stack, and this is the... Is that right? Yeah, the front is narrower than the rear. That's different, but whatever. That's how it's lining up. Stack goes back here. Alright, let's get started. Enough dilly-dallying. Alright, we've got the soldering iron all warmed up. Set to 400 degrees Celsius. We are going to get started by mounting up our motors, and then we'll tin our flight controller, and then we'll go from there. I like to do the motors first. Makes it feel like I've done something. Instead, I've sat here for 15 minutes talking about this build and looking at shit rather than, you know, working. So we'll just pretend like I edited this all out. How's that sound? Yeah. This is my last day of vacation, and I am building. Last day before I go back to work. Ugh. The worst. Having to work for a living. Are all of these the same? They appear to be. Yeah, this frame is actually a little snug. Snug enough that I need to screw it through the frame. No, I don't think I want that one. You remember those figure 8 holes? I almost put it in the wrong one. Okay. Well, this is harder than it looks. Okay. Let's take our time. We'll get another one started, just because. well. I guess that's going to be a problem. Yeah, this build's not off to a great start now, is it? This doesn't look like it's gonna work without a little bit of tweaking. Yeah, I don't know if you can see, but I cannot get two holes to line up here. Okay, well, maybe I'm full of shit. Or not. Let's try a different hole. Maybe we'll have better luck with a different one. This one looks better. No, let's not cross thread it. Yeah, so we got that one in. Maybe I just need to run the the holes are snug, which I guess is good. So we can get a different one in. Alright. We don't really need all four. I mean, not really. I mean, 4 screws on a micro is kind of overkill. Save a little bit of weight. Run 3 or 2. Let's back this guy out just a bit. Slide that up. Alright, so we've got the front 2. Screwed down. Let's see if we can get the rear 2. And we'll see if we can get a bunch more screws in place. Jesus. Plastic baggies. Baggy, 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 baggy. Okay. Baggy. Baggy, 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 baggy. Yeah, tons and tons of baggies. Anyway, we'll keep going on this guy. Triple Americano. Gotta have that coffee. Caffeine. Okay. Just snug as a bug. Oh, quit fighting me. Okay. Alright. Come on. Yeah, shit, this rear is just not cut enough. Okay. Give me just a minute to confer with the experts. Alright, we've got files and files and files. This one might work, actually. Oh, come on. Is there no flat side on this thing? Guess not. Let's see. Let's try and do. Okay. In case you can't see, I'm just doing this thing, grinding it out a little bit with a little bit of a file. Just a cheapy little file. Sometimes you just got to modify it a little tiny bit, brute force it in place. And we're back. Let's go ahead and see if my efforts to open up these holes have worked, or been successful, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, that feels a little better already, I think. We'll see if this will go, and if not, I'll take it over and grind it out with a Dremel. When in doubt, use a Dremel. I was amazed years ago. I saw a guy. We had built out a room in the basement of my father's house, and guy shows up and hangs all the drywall, and we'd done this really kind of cool door on the room. It was arched, so it was, we custom made the door out of mahogany or something, and cherry, and it had cherry panels and mahogany around, or walnut, I forget, but we spent way too much time on it, and way too much money, of course. But it was beautiful, and it still looks beautiful to this day. It's just that it was arched at the top, and so arching wood is always tough. But when they drywalled it, they needed, oh shit, shitballs. Okay. When they drywalled it, they needed to cut an archway, and I was like, how the hell are they going to cut an arch? Pulls out a Dremel, puts a like 1/8 inch bit in it, and then just plunges it through the drywall. It was the craziest thing I'd ever seen. I was like, holy shit. It's a little snug, but I think it's got it. Yeah. Yeah, to say that I'm happy with that, no, but it is what it is, and I'll have to deal with it. Yeah, those holes just aren't worth the time and effort. And I want to finish this video today, because I've got another one I want to do. Yeah, it's my vacation. What am I doing? The most relaxing thing I know. Building. It's just fun to use your hands and your brain to solve problems. Because I write software all day. It's kind of a similar problem solving experience, but I just like this more, I guess. Okay, there's that one. Shove it up in the hole. This guy. Okay. Nope, not gonna go. Not yet, anyway. That's gonna go. That'll do her. The center hole's the problem. It's not big enough. For the, yeah. Now it should sit down in there. Yep. Yeah, it's a good thing to have a good set of files whenever you're doing something fiddly like this. Oh, come on. Yeah. Just fighting me. That's all it is. Let's try it one last time, shall we? We're gonna leave one of these in. Come up through. Slide it on down. Yeah, I hope this thing flies okay. I'm disappointed if you do all this goddamn work and it flies like dog shit. There we go. Okay, 2 in each corner, good enough for me.